All right, so now that we have a project, we're going to import some data. And I'm going to go ahead and download the data if you haven't already from the introduction page here, and place it on your computer somewhere where you have access to it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to navigate to where I have that data stored. So I'm going into my projects here, so where I have it stored. And I've got a folder here called 2020 data prep. And then I'm going to go ahead and extract this. So we'll just go ahead and extract it to this folder here. So that'd be the zip file that we have. And then in that folder, we have a couple of files. We have a site plan, a grading plan, which are probably the two we want to use. So you could, just like in the takeoff, we could go to the import, but because these are both CAD files, I'm just going to select them both. I'm going to left click and drag and drop them into my project workspace here. It's going to import the files, and when the files come in, you're going to get a message possibly that there's errors and warnings. We can go ahead and look at those, and it opens up a spreadsheet. And it opens up a spreadsheet, and you can see here that there's some CAD stuff here. Probably not too concerned about 3D solid in one of them, raster image, dimensions not imported. So that's where having the PDF is going to be handy. So we just kind of take a look at here, and we can see that a lot of it's just text styles and line styles. Some other layers, okay, that are there. So a lot of it's just some warnings that we're going to ignore. So I'm just going to do a zoom extents here, and the data is way out in space somewhere. So as I zoom out, I can see that this little dot right here is probably where that data is. So what I'm going to do now is I just was rolling my wheel out to find that data. And now that I've found it, again, there's probably stuff down at 0, 0. This is actually up into the coordinate system of the project. So what I'm going to do so that I can find it easier, again, and don't have to keep scrolling and rolling, is I'm just going to do a window selection. And it's going to select everything within these CAD files. And then I'm going to go up top, and on the Home tab over to the right, you should have this invert selection. And by clicking that, it deselects the objects I've selected, and it's selected, and you can see that down here, there's 4 objects that are selected that are probably garbage. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on delete and remove those. So now when I do a double click my wheel mouse, it does a zoom extents. It now will bring me back to here, and my drawing won't be out in the middle of nowhere. All right. So now that we have that data, we can kind of start looking around. We can see we got a lot of information. I can turn off the grid lines so that they don't interfere with what I'm looking at here. It looks like there's some weird hatch patterns possibly that are happening in here, but again, we'll clean this up a little bit. We'll ignore it. That looks like a slope line, and that's fine. But we've got basically the CAD data. So we've got the curb lines, the dimensions. You can see we actually have the layers. So this is telling us, this is a curb line, which is good. If we take a look at this one, it's an arc, but it's also the curb line. So we'll work with this data. We'll clean it up, and we'll elevate it if it's not already elevated in the following steps.